page. Okay, this is Oldecam.
And this is not a spring chick. And
we're talking about Obama, you know, basically feeling the loss of the presidency coming up because he's threatening people if they tell you what actually went on in the Gulf oil spill now.
I thought he said it was all cleaned up.
Not according to the people the politicians down there. Bobby Jingle is basically starting to talk about what actually went on, and Obama's ordered a gag order on him, which you can't do. He said, well, he said, this is by presidential order, he has forbidden Bobby Jingle from talking about what actually happened.
Yeah, well, that's a first.
Yeah, so, well, because he was a month late. Bush was basically a couple of days late.
Right.
He was a month late, wasn't involved in anything. Claimed the thing is all over while the stuff is everywhere, and there was less damage done. The food is safe to eat, but then he went to Florida to eat it.
So is this a new standard for presidency, or?
Well, they said it's one. Even a Democrat last night said it's Nixonian. He is so paranoid.
Oh, Nixon, like Nixon.
That's right. They said he is paranoid to the point that he is now trying to invoke executive privilege on public things. Yeah, and a good one. I mean, you can't, I mean, like the book that Jingo wrote about it is already out. He wants the publisher to pull it from the shelves. Because
he wrote a book about it.
He wrote a book about everything. And Obama got wind of it after he started doing talk shows about blasting the president. But he also blasted the Republicans for sitting back and doing nothing because they weren't in control. So they did nothing. They just let Obama do nothing. And then didn't even bitch up a storm about Obama doing nothing.
Yep.
The Democrats did nothing but throw a fit when Bush didn't come to the Katrina until after the hurricane had stopped, which basically the Secret Service probably had more to do with that.
I think
than
they
anything
did.
else.
In fact, from what I heard, that they said it wasn't safe for him to go over there.
I know, but and the fact that there was the governor of the state of Louisiana was a Democrat. The mayor of the city of New Orleans was a Democrat. They have a city that is built like 12 feet below sea level with a lake around them.
Well, guess what happens?
Eventually things are bound to fill. There's more water than the system could handle. They said, well, the black areas were abandoned. Well, the black areas were underwater, and people were refusing to leave.
Is that kind of like over here, like they allow the motorhome parks to be in areas that you can't build houses on?
Yeah. So it's the way it works.
And they were probably in older areas, right?
Yeah. And there's people,
and grandfathered in.
You know, their grandfather couldn't make changes, anything. The people had homes that weren't built to standards. And the fact that they couldn't get people to leave. They also said that the mayor of the city, who they finally tossed out this year, Nagrin, had just literally thousands of buses he could have hauled people out of the city on and didn't use them.
Now that's kind of strange. Why didn't he use them?
Because he was one of the first people out.
Oh.
Well, the city had to be ran, and the only way you could effectively run the city was from a safer location. So he just abandoned the city. The police abandoned the city. The emergency workers abandoned the city. So it looked like a big problem. The problem was just a normal natural disaster. Anywhere in the world it wouldn't have been any different. But
I mean, look at what's been going on with Haiti.
But the Democrats jumped all over it. And then when they have the oil spill in the Gulf, the Republicans didn't jump all over it. It was an ungodly. Okay, first of all, there is no explanation as of this moment as to why a company that's basically heavily involved in going green under the Obama administration had every single door, every safety device shut off. Every device.
Yeah, they haven't really talked about that.
Anyone would have stopped it. Anyone. And every device on the blowout preventer, I think all 5 of them were off. Every door in the rig was open to the outside air. Anything, because most people know if you push a button in an emergency, all the doors shut. They just go, you know, it's not like on Star Trek where they have a guy with a string that pulls the door closed. No. The doors automatically seal in an emergency. That's why they're called watertight doors.
Oh.
They were all open. because they were open and allowed it to go, all the pressure to go out instead of being boom, you know. It could have went boom, 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 and stopped.
I don't think this is the last we're going to hear about it, because since President Obama did a gag order, which
you can't gag Bobby Jingle is not going to be gagged.
So part of it is because he did that, everybody wants to know, well, why did you do the gag order, so then they'll call more attention to it.
Because the Sierra Club has said that the oil is sitting there. It's not. There's no an unforeseen microbe ate all of the oil. No, it's just sitting there. It just is in the marshes, in the waterways. It's in the Gulf, in the waterways.
It's sunk to the bottom.
It's sunk right to the bottom, because oil is heavier than water when it gets sluggish. I mean, it floats on water until the dirt and stuff gets involved. Then it sinks like a rock. The whole bottom of the Gulf is just covered, which means it's a dead zone. So, but Obama doesn't want that known. Obama said it's over, they're selling shrimp, they're selling fish from the area for Christmas.
Yeah, but see, part of it, they were talking about what a disaster it was, right? And then all of a sudden, oh, it's done with. They were talking about the disaster before they plugged the hole.
Yeah, but there's no disaster. I mean, they didn't pump. Okay, the amount of money they get from British Petroleum is dependent upon amount of oil they say were pumped into the marshlands and stuff because of the environmental hazard rules. Well, all of a sudden there was virtually no oil pumped out.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, because then they have to admit it was a disaster. But Jingle has basically talked about how the fact that his people say that it's going to be decades before the area recovers, that the marshlands in some areas may never recover. The shrimp population is in big trouble because they're ground feeders. And he talked about how the President of the United States deliberately forbid any equipment from being used that would stop the problem.
Well, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Or one of the biggest problems.
They had the equipment on hand and he would not let it be used because they weren't operated by unions. So the union basically told Obama no. So you're talking about everything capable of being used was not used because of Obama and his union connections, which Jingle was basically talking about. It's just, he'd blown the lid. They said that it's obvious Jingle was running for the presidency as the guy that's outside of Washington now. Because he's taking them all on because his lawyers have already got an anti-order against Obama. You can't executive order a person from talking about what happened in his state.
Gosh.
But he did. He tried an executive order, but executive gag order on Bobby Jingle to prevent him from talking about it.
Part of it is it's almost like how should you say, a comedy. To see what else he comes out, because you invoke the Patriot Act because of the basketball incident.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. Which they said had nothing to do with it.
That was where the guy was playing basketball with him.
One of the head of Latino Congress elbowed him in the face deliberately.
12 stitches, though, that's a lot.
Well, they said they saw the thing. They said that he came up to him and then like that. They said it was deliberate. He stepped sideways so he could make certain he hit the president.
That's really bad.
You know it, because that was teaching the guy a lesson. And now Obama,
you can guess what part of the world that guy comes from.
Yeah, well, he's a probably first generation American, I think he is. Mm-hmm. No, but he wants Obama promised them amnesty, and now it looks like they're not going to get their DREAM Act either, which basically, okay, most of them don't. Okay, if they had to pay for their education, you'd probably get the DREAM Act in. But Obama administration is planning to pay for the education of everybody that wants to. If you've been in this country since you were a child, therefore, if you go to college, we'll pay for your college education. You become an American citizen. So it doesn't say they have to graduate. It says they must attend college.
Well, the problem is, what about all the people that were born here in the United States who have to pay for college?
Well,
right? Or if they're out of state, they even pay higher fees.
Well, because they already vote for the Democratic Party. See, it's only if you can't vote that they're important. If you can vote, if you're a voting constituency of the Democratic Party and you're not white, they don't really care about you.
Right, because the other way, it's like, we'll fund your education and then you become a citizen and then you can vote for us.
Yeah, but they won't even. They're not even going to fund the education. They know that the majority, I think, they have the largest dropout rate, and their dropout rate is larger than the black students. The idea is just if you attend college, if you attend a 2-year college, you can become a citizen of the country. It doesn't say graduate, the word says attend.
Which means you enroll, never go to class, and then become citizens.
Yeah, and they figure, well, though a 2-year college isn't that expensive, well, they still charge you by the unit, so, you know, $100 and some, you're talking, it's going to run $1,000 to $2,000 to put each one of those, but I think they said 8 million kids into college, so imagine, let's say an average of $1,500 times 8 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to legalize a voting block for the president. And the way it works, they said in this Congress, the President of the United States knows that he can, if it's going to spend money, lots of it, he has Olympia Snow and Susan Collins, who are from a Frisco state, that will help him spend every huge amount of money he wants to spend. But if it's to legalize a voting block, especially since they don't like, they've got anti-Latino legislation in their own states.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
He's not going to get their vote.
They're not going to get their votes. But, you know, they'll vote to, they said Collins, I heard a while ago, they said Collins and Snow will vote to extend the Unemployment Act because it's in billions. But they will not vote to extend something that the people of their state has already voted against. That would not be smart. So it all goes together. I mean, Obama didn't deliver. The Black Caucus is unhappy. I wouldn't want to be around the Black Caucus. The black newspapers are pounding him at the moment with his policies on, you know, on searching everybody that's a Christian and letting the Muslims through free, you know, because they got to fly. And first of all, if you're not wearing a burqa and your name isn't Muhammad on your thing and you're from Detroit or Toledo, Ohio, they don't know you're a Muslim, so you're going to go through the machinery.
Yep.
And American Muslims tend not to dress like Muslims out of this country.
No, because they don't want to look like they're they don't want to stand out. Whether you're, Amish or Muslim, you know what I mean? You don't want people to, you know, you don't look like everybody else.
They have non-Muslim names, like Barry Obama. He didn't become a Muslim name until he got into college and started joining the socialist stuff. Then he became a Muslim. Before that, he just had a Muslim father and atheist mother. But so atheist mother brought him up. Only Christians are basically being targeted at all these things.
Oh.
Isn't that an amazing thing? How'd you like to be
somebody has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, how'd you like to be the Jewish people coming into this country? They're probably the only ones from overseas that are getting targeted.
Oh.
Well, because he's anti-Christmas too. He doesn't believe it. He doesn't celebrate. I think he didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, or birthdays.
Although we may be seeing a change in that with the retail sector.
Yeah. Well, but they know he doesn't believe in it because he's not a Christian. So, even as president, he hasn't changed. He does the lighting of the tree, but it's all tied together with, he's losing his luster with the left-wing press. Because if you put what he did, he used an executive order on a piece of literary work, and what are press people for the most part?
Literary people.
They write.
They're writers and videographers.
But they may put it in front of a camera, but they still sit there and write it down. And if the president,
except for us.
Well, no, we don't. Everything is live and off the cuff. But if you can hit a book that is published and say executive order, we've executive ordered what is public domain material, then
they're going to control the presses.
They control the presses because it's the freedom of the press goes only as far as those that control the presses. The left is already in the back pocket of Obama, but the reporters don't really like him. It's editors. And the editors can basically, on presidential order, they said, seize the written material of the reporters and hand them over to Obama, which is what they're talking about. And I heard left-wing people. He said that he'd heard that they had demanded the notes that were used for the books to be turned over to the Justice Department.
The notes?
The notes, which is out of nowhere.
Well, part of it is already with the White House. They cut down access.
Yeah.
Right? And,